yeah, it just felt like forever since I've done this. Today's a really exciting day. It's beautiful out. I was able to open the garage door. I've got lots of fresh air. I mean, today's the perfect day. And not only that, you know, because it's a nice day to do some throwing and stuff, which we're gonna get to. But I don't know if you see behind me, there is clay. There's red clay. And I'm like super duper excited about that because it was discontinued last year and I thought I was not going to be able to use this clay anymore. It's one of my favorites to throw with and it's just so pretty. I love using it. It works really well with this technique I do with sodium silicate, kind of making a cracked texture on the surface. I have tried to do it with other clays, but I feel like the red clay is just stable and sturdy enough and it has enough of the grit and stuff to be able to do the sodium silicate without compromising the piece. So I'm really excited. I have a bag and we're gonna throw the bag. We're gonna, well, maybe not throw the bag, like literally throw the bag, but we're going to throw on the pottery wheel the whole bag of clay if I can manage it. I'm not sure if I'll be up to it, but I'm definitely going to try to get through most of this bag and I'm kind of going to go through it. So I usually use a white clay. I usually don't do too much clay switching colors and things like that, but I did kind of want to go through what I do when I do switch colors. So keep in mind, I only have like one electric wheel that I'm using right now. So, you know, ideally maybe I'd have more than one wheel and be able to like have one dedicated to white and have one dedicated to red. But I don't really do that. The first step really when I switch to the red clay is to clean my wheel. I've scrubbed it down. I've mostly took care of the white. I have a separate bat that is for red clay and a separate bowl that's for red clay. So these kind of just pop out. Not that you necessarily have to do this when you switch colors of clay, but because I do the sodium silicate and I use that technique with this red clay, it works better to have its own bat system. The sodium silicate is a little hard on bats and it kind of wears it out and it just makes it a little tricky. So I tend to kind of have just two separate bat systems. One for my red clay, one for my white clay. I also do have like a pickle jar that I've cleaned and everything. And these are what get my red tools. So my red clay tools, I do have separate sponges, a separate, you know, knife tool, rib, all that kind of stuff. It's all separate and I only use these tools for my red clay. And then of course I have another jar that's all the tools I use for my white clay. So here's my one for the white clay. These are all my white clay things. These are my red clay things. So it's a really hard clay to clean up. It makes a really big mess and it stains things. So for me, with using the red clay, it's just better to just have its own things, its own set of stuff. And because of the sodium silicate, it's another kind of variable that's easier for me to control when I just have a different set of tools and things for it. Usually with the sodium silicate, it takes a while to dry. So what I'm probably going to do is throw the sodium silicate pieces first, set them off to dry, maybe use the heat gun a little bit on them. I do have a heat gun for doing the sodium silicate. Let them dry a little bit and then just throw some other pieces that I'm not doing sodium silicate on. And yeah, and then also the thing with sodium silicate, it is kind of messy, it drips a lot, it gets into other things. I've had it where it's accidentally gotten my white clay and ruined the pieces. So I do have separate things for my sodium silicate as well. So this is only a sodium silicate jar, only a sodium silicate brush. That's all I, you know, do. And I make sure to have it on a surface that's specifically for these pieces. Just to kind of minimize that cross-contamination problem, because I have had it happen where the pieces have gotten cross-contaminated and like it's ruined my white pieces before. So yeah, that's the lowdown, that's the gist of doing like this with the red clay. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, that's what we're doing. So what did we get done? We've got 2 pretty big planters. It's kind of hard to tell just looking. Here, I'll show you like a size comparison of my hand. So yeah, so they're pretty wide and big compared to what I normally throw. I used about 5 or 4 pounds of clay for those guys, because usually I kind of make them smaller little planters for like succulents and stuff. But they actually are it's really awesome clay for making planters and stuff. Like, plants just thrive when I make them in this clay. So we got that. Got 2 planters. Then we've got the ones I'm going to turn into mugs. So these ones are a little bit smaller. And then I've got 2 plates for the planters. This one might be a little small, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this one will fit at least one of the planters. And then we've got just some regular mugs, mug. And these don't have any sodium silicate or anything on them. I'm just going to be regular glazing them, putting handles on them, all that jazz. For the Eyes of Pewter collection, there's one particular mug that I wanted to make my main character Kalan's mug out of red clay, so that's what we got. We got some mug samples here, and then I've got a decent sized vase, and I made this piece because for my patrons, and they're voting on things, and we're going to raku fire it and stuff. So I made one out of the red clay because I have a feeling it's going to hold up a little better than white clay. I do have a vase in both the white and the red, but I figured we'll just have like this one. Also, I'm kind of curious to see how different the raku glazes come out with the darker clay. So that might be kind of a fun experiment too. So yeah, I ended up throwing most of the bag. So we only have like this little bit of red clay left, which I actually stopped myself from throwing this piece because I need it for handles for the mugs. So we got a little bit left, but we pretty much threw an entire bag of clay because these will end up being handles for the mugs that I threw. So yeah, that's what we got done today. I also have some white clay pieces that are all going to get bisque fired, and more white clay pieces that are going to get bisque fired. And then I have even more in here. So we're going to be running a big bisque fire probably tomorrow. And yeah, I'm going to get this thing loaded up, run a big bisque fire. Yep, and then I went ahead and cleaned all the tools. They're all clean.